Forgiveness is one of the hardest things we are ever asked to do. When someone deeply hurts us, whether through betrayal, rejection, or cruelty, it leaves wounds that don't easily heal. The pain lingers, shaping how we see the world, how we interact with others, and even how we view ourselves. We replay the hurt in our minds, sometimes believing that holding on to the pain will protect us from being hurt again. But in reality, it only keeps us trapped in a cycle of suffering. Many of us wrestle with what forgiveness truly means. We might believe that forgiving means excusing the wrong that was done to us, pretending it didn't happen, or reconciling with the person who hurt us. These misconceptions can make forgiveness feel impossible. How can we forgive when the pain is so deep? How can we move forward when the person who hurt us doesn't acknowledge their actions or doesn't even seem to care? The truth is, forgiveness is not about minimizing the hurt or giving someone permission to hurt us again. It is about setting ourselves free from the weight of resentment. My own journey with forgiveness has been filled with struggles, doubts, and setbacks. I have faced pain that felt unbearable, moments when I thought I would never be able to let go. There were times I convinced myself that forgiveness was simply not an option, that some wounds were too deep, some betrayals too severe. But over time I learned that holding on to bitterness only kept me bound to the very thing I wanted to be free from. I discovered that forgiveness was not about the person who hurt me, it was about me. It was about my peace, my healing, and my ability to move forward without carrying the weight of the past. This journey is not about pretending the pain never happened or forcing ourselves to feel something we don't. It is about taking intentional steps toward healing, one moment at a time. It is about learning how to process our pain in a way that brings peace rather than prolonged suffering. Forgiveness is not a single moment, it is a journey, and it is one that leads to freedom. If you have ever felt stuck in resentment, afraid to let go, or unsure of where to even begin, know that you are not alone. This journey of forgiveness is not easy, but it is worth it. In this video, we will explore what forgiveness truly means, how to navigate the pain of the past, and how to step into a future that is not weighed down by bitterness. You are capable of healing, you are capable of finding peace, and most of all, you are capable of forgiving, even what you once thought you could never let go. Stay with me till the end to discover how forgiveness can truly transform your life. And if you find this content valuable, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more insightful book summaries. Chapter 1. Why Forgiveness Feels Impossible. Forgiveness can feel like an impossible task, especially when the pain inflicted upon us is deep and personal. The weight of unresolved hurt lingers long after the moment of betrayal, affecting the way we think, feel, and interact with the world. It is not just a memory, it becomes an emotional burden that we carry everywhere, shaping our relationships, our trust in others, and even our view of ourselves. Many people struggle with this weight, feeling stuck between their desire for peace and their inability to let go of what was done to them. The more we hold on to resentment, the more it drains our energy, making it harder to experience joy, love, and emotional freedom. It can feel unfair that the person who caused the pain can move on while we remain trapped in the aftermath. One reason forgiveness feels so difficult is the many misconceptions surrounding it. People often believe that forgiving someone means excusing their behavior, pretending the hurt never happened, or allowing the person back into their lives without boundaries. These ideas make forgiveness seem like an act of weakness, a way of letting the offender win. But true forgiveness is none of these things. It is not about condoning wrongdoing or denying the impact of the pain. Instead, it is about freeing ourselves from the control that pain has over us. Holding on to resentment does not punish the other person. It only keeps us bound to the hurt. Forgiveness does not always mean reconciliation either. There are times when it is necessary to forgive someone, but still maintain distance for our own well-being. Understanding that forgiveness is a choice we make for ourselves rather than for the other person can change the way we view it. Bitterness is one of the greatest emotional and spiritual burdens a person can carry. It does not just stay locked inside, it seeps into every part of life. It can make us suspicious, guarded, and overly defensive, even in situations where no harm is intended. It can rob us of our ability to trust and love fully, because we are constantly bracing for betrayal. Over time, bitterness becomes a prison, trapping us in a cycle of reliving the hurt and reinforcing the anger we feel. This does not just affect our emotions, it can impact our physical health as well. Studies have shown that prolonged stress and negative emotions can contribute to issues such as high blood pressure, weakened immune systems, and even chronic pain. In this way, the refusal to forgive becomes a form of self-inflicted harm. Spiritually, bitterness creates a wall between us and true peace. Many faith traditions emphasize the power of forgiveness, not just as a moral principle, but as a path to inner healing. When we refuse to forgive, we carry an emotional and spiritual weight that keeps us from experiencing the fullness of life. We may pray for relief from our suffering, but if we are unwilling to release our resentment, we remain bound to it. Choosing to forgive does not mean the pain instantly disappears, but it does mean we are no longer allowing it to define us. It is a declaration that we will not let the past steal any more of our present or future. Yet, knowing all of this does not always make forgiveness easier. It is one thing to understand that resentment is harmful, but it is another thing entirely to let go of it when the wounds still feel fresh. Sometimes we hold on to pain because it feels like the only thing connecting us to the injustice we experienced. If we let it go, does it mean the hurt didn't matter? If we forgive, does it mean the person gets away with what they did? These are the questions that keep many people stuck in their pain. But the truth is, forgiveness does not erase what happened. It allows us to reclaim our lives despite what happened. It is not about making peace with the person who hurt us. It is about making peace with ourselves. The process of forgiveness is rarely instant. It is a journey that often requires revisiting painful emotions, processing grief, and slowly choosing to release the hold that resentment has on our hearts. Some days, it will feel easier than others. Some moments will be filled with clarity and strength, while others may feel like setbacks. But what matters is the decision to keep moving forward, even when it feels impossible. Because on the other side of forgiveness is freedom, the kind of freedom that allows us to live fully, love deeply, and finally step into the beautiful life that was meant for us. Chapter 2: How Unforgiveness Affects Your Life. Forgiveness is one of the hardest things to embrace, especially when the pain runs deep. It's not just a moment of hurt that we carry, it becomes part of our daily thoughts, shaping our emotions, decisions, and even our ability to trust. When someone wrongs us in a way that feels unbearable, it can feel impossible to simply let it go. The weight of betrayal, disappointment, and grief can settle into our hearts, making it difficult to believe that forgiveness is even an option. And yet, living with resentment only deepens the wound, keeping us trapped in a cycle of pain that never truly heals. One of the greatest struggles with forgiveness is the belief that it somehow minimizes what happened. We fear that if we forgive, it means the offense didn't matter or that we are letting the person off the hook. But the truth is, forgiveness isn't about excusing someone's behavior or pretending the pain didn't happen. It's about choosing to release ourselves from the emotional prison that bitterness creates. Holding on to resentment does not punish the other person. It only keeps us bound to them in ways we never intended. The anger, hurt, and frustration remain within us, affecting our peace, our joy, and our relationships with others. The longer we hold on to it, the more it consumes us. Another misconception about forgiveness is that it requires reconciliation. Many people believe that forgiving means restoring the relationship, allowing the person back into their life as if nothing happened. But true forgiveness does not always mean reconnection. There are times when it is healthy and necessary to set boundaries, to recognize that some relationships are not meant to be restored. Forgiving someone does not mean giving them permission to hurt us again. It simply means that we are no longer willing to carry the burden of resentment in our hearts. It is a decision to let go for our own sake, not necessarily for theirs. Resentment is a heavy load to carry. It does not stay confined to the past. It seeps into every aspect of life. It affects our moods, our thoughts, and even our physical health. Studies have shown that chronic anger and unforgiveness can lead to increased stress, anxiety, and even physical ailments like high blood pressure and weakened immune function. The body and mind are deeply connected, and when we hold on to bitterness, it can manifest in ways we don't even realize. We may think we are only hurting emotionally, but over time, unforgiveness takes a toll on our entire well-being. Spiritually, bitterness can create a barrier between us and true peace. Many faith traditions speak about the power of forgiveness, not just as a moral obligation, but as a path to freedom. When we refuse to forgive, we remain tied to the pain, unable to fully step into the joy and healing that life has to offer. We might pray for peace, yet if we are unwilling to let go of resentment, we keep ourselves locked in a state of suffering. Choosing to forgive does not mean forgetting, but it does mean allowing ourselves to move forward without being held hostage by the past. Still, knowing all of this does not make forgiveness easy. It's one thing to understand why we should forgive, but it's another thing to actually do it. Sometimes holding on to pain feels like the only justice we have. If we let it go, does it mean the person gets away with what they did? If we forgive, does it mean the pain no longer mattered? These are the thoughts that keep many people stuck, unable to take that first step toward healing. But the reality is, forgiveness is not about erasing what happened. It's about reclaiming our lives despite what happened. It is not about the other person's actions. It is about our own freedom. Forgiveness is not a one-time decision, but a journey. Some days will be harder than others. There will be moments when old wounds resurface, when anger returns, when we feel like we are back at square one. But what matters is the choice to keep moving forward. Even if forgiveness feels impossible now, even if the pain still feels fresh, even if resentment feels justified, there is hope. Healing is possible. Freedom is possible. And on the other side of forgiveness, a beautiful life awaits, one that is no longer defined by the pain of the past, but by the peace of moving forward. Chapter 3. Facing the reality of your hurt. Pain is not something we can simply ignore, no matter how much we wish we could. When we experience deep hurt, whether it's betrayal, rejection, abandonment, or loss, it leaves a lasting mark on our hearts. Many of us try to suppress the pain, convincing ourselves that if we just keep moving forward, the hurt will fade with time. But the truth is, healing cannot happen unless we first acknowledge the reality of our wounds. Ignoring our pain does not make it go away. It only pushes it deeper, where it quietly influences our thoughts, behaviors, and relationships. One of the most important steps in the healing process is validating our emotions. Too often we are told to get over it, move on, or be strong, as if feeling hurt is a sign of weakness. But pain is not something to be ashamed of. It is a natural response to being wronged. Pretending that we are okay when we are not does more harm than good. Healing begins when we give ourselves permission to fully feel the weight of what happened, to grieve the loss of trust, the loss of security, or even the loss of the person we once were before the pain changed us. This is not about dwelling in misery or playing the victim. It is about allowing ourselves the space to process our emotions instead of burying them. Betrayal and loss are some of the most painful experiences a person can go through. Whether it's a broken relationship, a friend's dishonesty, a family member's hurtful actions, or any other form of deep disappointment, the pain feels personal and often shatters the way we see ourselves and the world. When someone we trusted hurts us, it makes us question everything, our judgment, our worth, and sometimes even our faith in people altogether. Betrayal has a way of making us build walls, keeping others at a distance so that we never have to feel that kind of pain again. But while those walls may offer a temporary sense of protection, they also keep us from experiencing deep connection and healing. It is tempting to believe that moving on means forcing ourselves to forget or act as if nothing happened. But true healing is not about pretending. It is about facing the pain head-on and working through it. Moving on and healing are not the same thing. Moving on can mean pushing the pain aside, suppressing emotions, and trying to distract ourselves with busyness. Healing, on the other hand, requires us to sit with our pain, to examine it, to understand how it has affected us, and to make intentional choices about how we respond to it. Healing is not a passive process. It takes time, effort, and self-compassion. One of the hardest parts of healing is letting go of the desire for justice or revenge. When we have been wronged, we want the other person to understand the pain they caused. We want them to acknowledge it, to feel remorse, to apologize, or to make things right. But the hard reality is that this may never happen. Some people may never take responsibility for their actions. They may never express regret. Holding on to our hurt in the hope that they will change does not serve us. It only keeps us bound to them and the pain they caused. This is why acknowledging our pain is not about waiting for someone else to make things right. It is about taking control of our own healing. It is about deciding that even if the person who hurt us never apologizes, even if they never change, we will not let their actions define the rest of our lives. We can choose to work through our pain, to process our emotions in a healthy way, and to take steps toward freedom. Healing is a journey, and there is no exact timeline for it. Some days will feel easier than others. Some moments will bring clarity and strength, while others will bring back old wounds. But the more we allow ourselves to face the reality of our hurt, the more we open ourselves up to the possibility of peace. We cannot change the past, but we can decide how we let it shape our future. By acknowledging our pain, allowing ourselves to grieve, and choosing to heal rather than just move on, we take the first step toward the life we truly deserve, one that is not controlled by the wounds of yesterday, but filled with hope for tomorrow. Chapter 4. Redefining Forgiveness. Forgiveness is one of the most misunderstood concepts when it comes to healing from pain. Many people resist the idea of forgiving because they believe it means excusing the offense, forgetting what happened, or allowing the person back into their lives without consequences. These misconceptions make forgiveness feel like an impossible or even unfair expectation. However, true forgiveness is not about the other person. It is about setting yourself free from the emotional weight of resentment and bitterness. One of the biggest challenges in forgiving is that it can feel like letting someone off the hook. We may believe that by holding on to our pain, we are ensuring that justice is served. But the reality is that resentment does not punish the other person. It only keeps us locked in a cycle of suffering. Forgiveness does not mean pretending that the hurt did not happen. It does not mean ignoring the betrayal or excusing harmful behavior. Instead, it is a personal decision to release the grip that pain has on our hearts. It is choosing to no longer let past wounds define our present or future. A crucial distinction that must be made is the difference between forgiveness and reconciliation. Many people avoid forgiving because they believe it requires restoring the relationship with the person who hurt them. However, forgiveness and reconciliation are not the same thing. Forgiveness is an internal process. It is about freeing yourself from anger, resentment, and emotional pain. Reconciliation, on the other hand, is a mutual process that requires effort, responsibility, and trust from both sides. There are situations where reconciliation is possible and even beneficial. But there are also circumstances where it is neither safe nor wise. Some people are toxic, manipulative, or unwilling to acknowledge the harm they have caused. In these cases, forgiveness does not mean giving them another opportunity to hurt you. It means you no longer allow their actions to have power over your emotions. You can forgive someone and still choose to set boundaries that protect your peace and well-being. Letting go of resentment is not just about emotional freedom. It has tangible benefits for your mental and physical health. Studies have shown that chronic anger and bitterness increase stress levels, weaken the immune system, and contribute to anxiety and depression. When we hold on to resentment, our bodies remain in a state of tension and distress, as if we are constantly reliving the hurt. But when we choose to forgive, we create space for peace, clarity, and emotional healing. Forgiveness is not about the other person deserving it. It is about you deserving peace. It is not about rewriting history. It is about reclaiming your future. When we carry resentment, we allow the person who hurt us to continue influencing our thoughts, emotions, and decisions. But when we forgive, we take back control of our own happiness. The journey of forgiveness is not always linear. Some days you may feel at peace, and other days anger may resurface. That does not mean you have failed. It simply means healing takes time. Forgiveness is a process that requires patience, self-compassion, and a willingness to release what no longer serves you. At its core, forgiveness is a gift you give yourself. It is not about condoning wrongdoing or forgetting the past. It is about choosing to live without the burden of resentment. By redefining what forgiveness truly means, we open ourselves to the possibility of healing, growth, and a future that is no longer defined by pain, but by the freedom to move forward. Chapter 5. Letting go without losing yourself. Forgiving someone does not mean losing yourself in the process. Many people struggle with the idea of letting go because they fear it will make them weak or cause them to lower their guard. They worry that by releasing resentment, they are giving up their dignity or allowing the person who hurt them to escape accountability. But true forgiveness is not about erasing the past or dismissing the pain. It is about freeing yourself while still maintaining your self-respect, your boundaries, and your inner strength. One of the most important aspects of letting go without losing yourself is learning how to set boundaries. Forgiveness does not mean allowing someone back into your life to hurt you again. It does not mean you have to trust them or continue the relationship. In fact, sometimes the healthiest thing you can do is forgive from a distance. Setting boundaries is not an act of anger or punishment. It is an act of self-care. It is a way of protecting your heart while still choosing not to carry the burden of bitterness. Boundaries are a way to define what you will and will not accept in your life. They help you take ownership of your emotions while ensuring that others do not take advantage of your kindness. Forgiving someone does not require you to let them walk all over you. You can extend grace while also making it clear that their actions had consequences. If a person repeatedly disrespects or hurts you, it is completely valid to limit or cut off contact. Forgiveness is about releasing yourself from the pain, but boundaries are about ensuring that you do not invite more pain into your life. Another key part of letting go is learning how to release anger in a healthy way. Many people believe they have only two choices when it comes to dealing with their emotions: either suppress them or explode in rage. Neither of these approaches leads to true healing. Suppressing emotions does not make them disappear. It only buries them deeper, where they continue to affect your thoughts and actions in subtle but damaging ways. On the other hand, acting out in anger can lead to more regret, pain, and unresolved conflict. Instead of suppressing or exploding, it is important to process anger in a way that allows healing. This can mean talking to a trusted friend, writing in a journal, seeking therapy, or engaging in physical activities like exercise to release built-up tension. It can also mean acknowledging your anger without letting it control you. Feeling angry is a natural response to being wronged, but it does not have to dictate your actions or keep you stuck in the past. Letting go does not mean forgetting what happened, nor does it mean ignoring the pain. It means choosing to no longer let the past have power over your present. This requires strength, but not the kind of strength that comes from holding on to resentment. True strength comes from surrendering what you cannot change and refusing to let it steal your peace. Surrender is not the same as defeat. It does not mean giving up. It means choosing to rise above the situation and reclaim your life. Surrendering the past does not mean it did not matter. It simply means you are no longer allowing it to define your future. This process takes time and effort. There may be days when the pain resurfaces, when the anger feels fresh again, when you question whether you have truly let go. That is normal. Healing is not a straight path. It is a journey with ups and downs. What matters is your decision to keep moving forward, to keep choosing peace over resentment, and to trust that a life free from bitterness is possible. Letting go is one of the greatest acts of self-love. It allows you to create space in your heart for new experiences, deeper relationships, and a greater sense of freedom. It is not about losing yourself, it is about rediscovering yourself without the weight of past pain holding you back. Chapter 6. Processing Pain with God's Guidance. Pain is an inevitable part of life, but navigating through it alone can feel overwhelming. When betrayal, loss, or disappointment strike, it's natural to feel lost, questioning why such hardships happen. In moments like these, faith can serve as a guiding light, offering comfort, strength, and the assurance that healing is possible. Turning to God in times of pain does not mean that suffering will instantly disappear, but it does mean that you do not have to carry the burden alone. One of the most powerful aspects of faith is its ability to bring peace even when circumstances remain difficult. Trusting God does not require having all the answers. It simply means believing that He is present in your pain. When everything feels broken, faith reminds you that you are not abandoned. God's love is not dependent on circumstances. He is constant, even when people fail you, even when the hurt feels unbearable, and even when you struggle to understand why things happened the way they did. However, trusting God in the midst of suffering is not always easy. Pain has a way of making us doubt, question, and even withdraw from our faith. When life feels unfair, it's tempting to believe that God has forgotten us, or that He is silent in our struggles. But faith is not about having perfect confidence all the time. It is about choosing to lean on God, even when doubts creep in. Instead of running away from Him, faith calls us to bring our pain to Him, to be honest in our prayers, and to seek His presence in our healing journey. Learning to trust again after experiencing deep hurt is one of the hardest things to do. Whether you have been betrayed by someone close to you or have faced unexpected loss, pain often leaves scars that make it difficult to be vulnerable again. Fear tells you that if you let your guard down, you will only be hurt once more. But trust is not something that is rebuilt overnight. It is a gradual process that requires patience, wisdom, and discernment. Trusting God does not mean ignoring your pain or pretending that everything is okay. It means surrendering what you cannot control and allowing Him to guide you toward healing. It means seeking His wisdom when deciding whom to trust again and when to set boundaries. It means understanding that while people may fail you, God never will. Human relationships are fragile, and not everyone deserves a place in your life after they have hurt you, but faith gives you the courage to open your heart again when the time is right. Finding hope through spiritual growth is a crucial part of processing pain. When life feels shattered, it is easy to get stuck in a mindset of despair. But faith offers a different perspective, one that shifts the focus from pain to possibility. The more you grow spiritually, the more you begin to see that suffering is not the end of your story. God can use even the most painful experiences to shape you, strengthen you, and bring you into a deeper understanding of His purpose for your life. Spiritual growth often happens in the moments when we feel weakest. It is in the quiet prayers, in the verses that bring comfort, and in the surrender of control that we begin to experience true healing. Growth does not mean you will never feel pain again, but it does mean that pain will no longer control you. Instead of defining yourself by what you have lost, you begin to define yourself by how God is restoring you. Faith does not erase pain, but it transforms it. It reminds you that even in the hardest moments, there is still hope. It shows you that healing is not about forgetting what happened, but about moving forward with a renewed sense of purpose. Through faith, you find the strength to forgive, the courage to trust again, and the belief that something beautiful can come from even the deepest wounds. With God's guidance, you are never alone in your healing. You are held, you are loved, and you are being led toward a life of peace and restoration. Chapter 7. Healing from the Inside Out. Healing is not just about moving past pain, it's about transforming it from the inside out. True healing goes beyond simply forgetting or suppressing what happened. It requires deep emotional work, a shift in perspective, and an intentional decision to rewrite the story you tell yourself about your pain. Healing does not happen overnight, nor is it a straight path. It is a process, often filled with setbacks, but every step forward, no matter how small, matters. One of the first emotional steps to healing is acknowledging your pain without letting it define you. Many people try to push their pain away, convincing themselves that if they ignore it long enough, it will disappear. But unprocessed pain doesn't just vanish, it lingers, shaping how you see yourself, how you interact with others, and how you navigate the world. Healing begins when you allow yourself to fully feel the weight of what you've been through, to grieve the losses, and to give yourself the grace to process your emotions at your own pace. A crucial part of emotional healing is rewriting the story you tell yourself. When we experience deep hurt, we often develop narratives about what that pain means. If you've been betrayed, you might tell yourself that you are unworthy of love. If you've been abandoned, you might believe that you will always be alone. If you've been hurt repeatedly, you might assume that trusting people is dangerous. These narratives shape your self-perception and influence how you approach relationships and opportunities. But here's the truth: you have the power to rewrite your story. The past does not have to define you. You are not just what happened to you, you are how you choose to rise from it. Instead of saying, "I will never heal from this," you can say, "I am actively working toward my healing." Instead of believing, "I am broken beyond repair," you can remind yourself, "I am learning, growing, and becoming stronger through this experience." Shifting your inner dialogue is one of the most powerful ways to reclaim your life and step into healing. Transforming pain into purpose is the final and most profound step in healing from the inside out. While no one wishes for pain, it often has the power to shape us into wiser, more compassionate, and more resilient people. The experiences that once felt like they were breaking, you can ultimately become the very things that strengthen you. One way to transform pain is by using your experience to help others. When you share your story, not from a place of bitterness, but from a place of healing, you remind others that they are not alone. Your pain can become a testimony of survival, resilience, and growth. Whether it's through conversations, creative expression, or acts of kindness, turning your pain into purpose allows you to find meaning in what you've been through. Healing from the inside out is not about erasing the past, but about making peace with it. It is about choosing to no longer let pain control you. It is about deciding that even though you have been hurt, you will not let that hurt define the rest of your life. True healing is a journey, and every day you choose to step forward, you are proving to yourself that you are capable of growth, strength, and renewal. Chapter 8. Living Free from Resentment. Resentment is a silent weight that keeps us anchored to the past. It often feels justified. After all, when someone hurts us, it seems only fair that they should bear the consequences. But the truth is, resentment does not punish the person who wronged us. It punishes us. It keeps us trapped in a cycle of bitterness, replaying painful memories and preventing us from moving forward. Living free from resentment is not about denying what happened or excusing bad behavior. It is about choosing peace over pain, grace over grudges, and freedom over emotional chains. Creating a mindset of peace and grace requires a shift in how we view forgiveness. Many people believe that peace comes only after justice has been served. But in reality, peace is something we create within ourselves. It is a choice we make daily, to let go of anger, to release the need for revenge, and to stop reliving the past. Peace is not dependent on other people's actions or apologies. It is something we cultivate from within. Grace plays a powerful role in this process. Grace does not mean pretending that the hurt did not happen, nor does it mean allowing toxic people to remain in our lives. Instead, grace is the ability to acknowledge that everyone, including ourselves, has flaws, makes mistakes, and carries their own pain. Extending grace does not mean justifying someone's actions, but it does mean choosing not to let their actions control your emotions any longer. To maintain emotional freedom, it is essential to develop daily practices that reinforce your decision to live without resentment. One of the most effective ways to do this is through gratitude. When you focus on what is good in your life, it becomes harder for bitterness to take root. Keeping a gratitude journal, meditating on positive affirmations, or simply taking moments throughout the day to appreciate life's blessings can help shift your focus from what was lost to what is still possible. Another powerful practice is releasing negative thoughts before they take hold. Resentment often begins with a single thought, an old memory, a replay of an argument, a lingering sense of injustice. When you catch yourself dwelling on past pain, take a deep breath and redirect your thoughts. This could mean saying a short prayer, repeating a calming mantra, or reminding yourself of how far you have come. The more you practice letting go of harmful thoughts, the easier it becomes to live with emotional freedom. Learning to love and trust again is one of the biggest challenges after experiencing deep hurt. Pain has a way of making us build walls, convincing us that if we keep people at a distance, we can avoid getting hurt again. But isolation is not the answer to healing. While it is important to be cautious and set healthy boundaries, it is also important to remain open to love. Whether it comes in the form of friendships, family relationships, or even new romantic connections. Trust is not something that must be given all at once. It can be rebuilt slowly in small steps. Start by trusting yourself, your ability to make wise decisions, to set boundaries, and to walk away from toxic situations when necessary. Then, allow yourself to trust others in ways that feel safe and manageable. Not everyone deserves immediate access to your heart, but that does not mean you should shut yourself off from meaningful connections. Living free from resentment is not about erasing the past. It is about reclaiming your future. It is a daily choice to let go of what no longer serves you and to embrace the freedom that comes with forgiveness. You deserve a life that is filled with joy, love, and peace, and the moment you decide to release resentment, you open the door to all the beautiful possibilities that await. Chapter 9. Embracing the Future. Without the burden of the past, forgiveness is not just about releasing the pain of the past. It is about making space for a better future. When we hold on to resentment, we unknowingly carry a weight that prevents us from fully experiencing joy, love, and peace. True forgiveness does not mean forgetting or pretending that the hurt never happened. It means choosing not to let the past dictate our future. It is a decision to heal, grow, and create a life that is no longer controlled by wounds we did not choose. One of the greatest gifts of forgiveness is personal growth. Every hardship, betrayal, or painful experience has the potential to either break us or strengthen us. When we choose forgiveness, we shift our focus from what was lost to what can be gained. We begin to see our struggles not as things that define us, but as stepping stones toward wisdom and resilience. Instead of allowing pain to harden us, we use it to become more compassionate, more self-aware, and more intentional about the kind of life we want to build. Growth through forgiveness also means learning from the past without being chained to it. It involves recognizing unhealthy patterns, setting stronger boundaries, and making decisions that align with the person you are becoming. It is about embracing the lessons that pain has taught you while refusing to let that pain shape your identity. You are not what happened to you. You are who you choose to become moving forward. As you let go of past burdens, you make room to rediscover joy and fulfillment. Many people who have been deeply hurt find it difficult to experience happiness again. They fear that if they allow themselves to feel joy, they are somehow dismissing their pain. But joy and pain can coexist. Healing does not mean the past never mattered. It means you have decided that your future matters more. Finding joy again may start with small steps. It may be as simple as reconnecting with activities you once loved, spending time with people who bring you peace, or allowing yourself to dream about the future. The more you open yourself to moments of happiness, the more you remind yourself that life is still full of possibilities. Creating a life filled with beauty and peace is not something that happens by chance. It is an intentional choice. When you forgive, you give yourself permission to create a future that is no longer dictated by the hurtful actions of others. You reclaim your power. You decide what kind of life you want to live, what kind of energy you want to invite in, and what kind of legacy you want to leave behind. A beautiful life does not mean a life without challenges, but it does mean a life where you are free. Free from bitterness, free from emotional chains, and free to embrace love, purpose, and fulfillment. The past may have shaped you, but it does not have to define you. You have the power to step into a future that is filled with hope, grace, and endless possibilities. Conclusion: your new beginning. Forgiveness is not just about letting go of the past. It is about stepping into a new beginning. It is about choosing healing over hurt, peace over pain, and freedom over resentment. While the journey of forgiveness is not easy, it is one of the most transformative decisions you can make for yourself. When you forgive, you are not saying that what happened was okay or that the pain didn't matter. Instead, you are choosing to no longer be held captive by the wounds of the past. Healing is not a one-time event. It is a continuous journey. Some days forgiveness will feel natural, while on others, old wounds may resurface. That is okay. Healing is not about perfection. It is about progress. Every time you choose to let go of bitterness, to release anger, or to extend grace, you are taking a step toward a lighter, more peaceful life. As you move forward, embrace practices that nurture your healing. Surround yourself with people who uplift and encourage you. Engage in activities that bring you joy and fulfillment. Prioritize self-care, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Most importantly, give yourself grace. Forgiveness is not about forgetting. It is about reclaiming your life and deciding that your future will not be defined by your past. Your new beginning starts now. You have the power to create a life that is filled with love, joy, and peace. You deserve a future that is not burdened by past pain, but illuminated by hope and possibility. Every day is an opportunity to move forward, to embrace healing, and to step into the life you were meant to live. Forgiveness is not just a gift you give to others, it is a gift you give to yourself. And in choosing to forgive, you are choosing freedom. If this video helped you in any way, let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe for more powerful book summaries that inspire personal growth. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.